Hi everyone, welcome back. If you're new here, my name is Blair, and today's video is very exciting because we are going to be trying out two new drugstore makeup products. And if you've been here for a while, you may remember back months ago when I first started my channel, every Wednesday I posted a video and I called it What's New Wednesday, and I reviewed a new beauty product that has just come out and hit the market. And I kind of got away from it over the past few months, but I wanted to bring it back, and a few of you had asked that I bring this back. So today is a new What's New Wednesday video on two new drugstore products. The products we're going to be using and testing out today are the L'Oreal True Match Eye Cream and a Concealer, and the L'Oreal Skin Paradise Water-Infused Tinted Moisturizer. I am so excited about these. I was actually going to split this into two videos, but then I realized they're both from L'Oreal. I might as well test them out at the same time. So that's what we're going to be doing today. I am also going to be doing a wear test today. So I'm going to wear these all day long, do a few different check-ins with you, and we will compare and see how they hold up throughout the day as well. So if you're interested in my thoughts on the new L'Oreal Skin Paradise Tinted Moisturizer and the Eye Cream in a Concealer, please keep watching and let's go ahead and get started. Okay, so I have nothing on my face at all except my skincare, and I did that an hour or two ago, so everything has had time to kind of sink in. And let's talk about the eye cream first. So this is very intriguing to me. Number one, because I love concealer. I love to try out new concealers. And I also love eye creams. I don't know if I've ever said that in a video, but I just love to try out eye cream. I know a lot of people don't believe in eye cream and they think you don't need it. I personally do think you need it, and I really love it. So this is like two things I love in one product. This is supposed to have hyaluronic acid in it, so it's supposed to be really moisturizing, but give you a little bit of coverage under the eye as well. Let's see, what else does this say? 24-hour hydration, non-comedogenic, no fragrance, does not clog pores, lightweight, and very buildable, according to the packaging. This comes in 14 shades, which is not fantastic. I wish it came in more. The shade that I have is in 1-2 Fair. So we'll see how this works. So it's a tiny little bottle here. And it's just a little squeeze tube bottle. So I'll pump some out on my hand for you. Oh. Of course I pump it out and get it all over myself. But here is the texture. It's very thin feeling, very lightweight. It definitely feels like a gel consistency, I would say. It does feel super hydrating though. And the color looks like it's going to be pretty good for me because I really can't see it on my hand. So hopefully this color is okay. It feels really nice on my hand. So I'm very excited to try this. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna apply it by itself on one eye, and then I'm gonna use a corrector underneath on the other eye. If you are new here, I always apply a corrector. I would never wear concealer with no corrector. I just always use one, but in case you want to see it with no corrector underneath, I'll do that on one eye and do it with corrector on the other eye. All right, so I'm gonna zoom in a little bit so hopefully you can see a little bit better. I don't wanna zoom in too much, but hopefully you can see. So let's do the right eye without corrector and the left eye with corrector. I'm not quite sure how to apply this. I guess I'm just going to take it straight, or actually no, I'm not. I'm going to put some on the back of my hand, and I'm going to grab it on my finger and start to tap this in. All right, So that is not even all of the product on my hand. So it gave a decent amount of coverage. You can definitely still see the blue tones right here, but I didn't use a corrector underneath, so I'm not really surprised by that, but it definitely gave some coverage. It covered more than I thought, to be honest. So I'll get up close so you can see. I do think this color is okay. I think it's a little bit light for me. Let me pull my mirror up here so I can really see. Yeah, I feel like the color is a little bit light for me. I probably should have gone up one shade. It looks hydrating under my eyes, but I'm not obsessed with how it looks. It looks okay, but not fantastic. It seems to be kind of clinging. It doesn't look like it's super blended in. It looks kind of clingy under my eyes. And I did apply eye cream, but that was hours ago. So it's had plenty of time to sink in. It looks okay, not great. And like I said, it could be the color also that I'm not super crazy about. So I don't know. Let's see how it looks with a corrector underneath it. All right, so for the left eye, I'm going to use my Bobbi Brown corrector because this is one of my tried and true products. And I know this works well on my eyes. So I'm going to just tap this in. And then I'm just going to take my ring finger and lightly tap this in. So this is the eye with no corrector and the L'Oreal eye cream and a concealer. This one just has a little bit of corrector right now. So I'm going to give that corrector a minute to kind of sink in. Now I'm going to take what's on my hand with my finger again. And I'm gonna start to pat this in. Now I don't know, since this is supposed to be an eye cream, also how this is gonna do on top of that corrector, but like I said, I never apply concealer with no corrector underneath. That's just, if I only apply one thing, it's probably gonna be corrector. So that's just kind of blending it in lightly with my finger. Now I'm just going to take, this is a Real Techniques contour brush actually, and I'm just going to kind of pat this in and make sure it's nice and blended. I do think that because this is such a thin gel-like consistency, I don't know that using your finger only is the best way to blend it in. I think it's kind of one of those things you could spread it out with your finger and kind of start blending it, but I might go over it with a fluffy brush like this just to make sure nothing is just sitting there. There it is. So let me get up closer. Okay, so to me, it's obvious this eye has no corrector underneath it because you can see very clearly my blue purple circle here, but it covered it slightly. I mean, it doesn't look like I have nothing on. This eye looks a lot better to me. You can definitely still see some of my purple discoloration right here because I'm pretty dark right here in my inner corner, but it's definitely not as much as on this side. So if you're someone like me that has severe darkness, I doubt just using this eye cream concealer by itself is going to give you the coverage that you're wanting, unless you just don't have much to cover. I do definitely think it looks better with the corrector underneath. And I will say, the texture of it on this side with the corrector underneath it actually looks a little bit smoother than this side, which is interesting. But I like this side pretty well. This side I'm not crazy about, but figured I wouldn't be. I mainly just did this so you could see it with no corrector if you were curious. One other thing is this eye cream does say that it's buildable. So I am going to take just a little, there's not much left, but just a little bit of the product that's left on the back of my hand. And I'm going to take that brush that I was just patting it in with, and I'm just going to kind of build it up in the brush. And I'm just going to continue to tap underneath my eye. I'm just kind of curious to see if this builds up at all. I think it might have added like a tiny bit more coverage, but I would say it didn't add a whole lot. I also didn't use a ton of product though. The thing with this is I don't know if you just kept going in with more and more and more, if it would start to kind of peel up and not lay smoothly because it's so thin and moisturizing. You can definitely tell it has hyaluronic acid in it. You can tell how moisturizing it is. As soon as you pump it out on your hand, you'll definitely feel that hyaluronic acid. You can for sure tell that it's in there. I'm gonna take one more dot, small dot. You can see how much on both eyes. One dot on each eye. Gonna take my ring finger again, and this again is the eye with no corrector underneath. This is the eye with corrector. All right. So there it is with a little bit, one dot more on each side. Again, I don't think it added a whole lot, especially over here. It looks pretty much the same to me. Maybe a very slight amount over here. So I don't know how buildable I think this is, just based on my first impression. I also will say that it's kind of hard to get this to blend in, and I'm guessing because it's an eye cream, it kind of feels like it's just moving around. It's not actually blending into your skin, which could also be because it's an eye cream, and typically eye creams you don't rub in like you do a moisturizer or something. You just kind of pat it in. But because this is meant to be a concealer also, I do think you're going to get a little bit of a better result if you maybe use your finger like I did and then go over it with a brush and kind of tap it in. It looks better now that I did that. I don't know that this is going to be something I use all the time. I just prefer how a corrector and one of my favorite concealers looks. But I guess depending on how much you're trying to cover, how much darkness you have, and you're trying to get out the door, or you're someone that does not like to apply an eye cream and then a corrector and then a concealer, you want to just do it all at once, this might be something to look into. I am going to wear this all day long, and I'm going to come back and check in with you. I'm very curious to see how this is going to look under my eyes after I've had it on for a while, because of that texture, that thin moisturizing texture. It makes me think it's going to move around. I might even powder one side and not powder the other. I don't know. We will see, but not obsessed with it, but I don't think it's horrible. We'll see how it goes for the rest of the day. Now let's move on to the new L'Oreal Skin Paradise Water-Infused Tinted Moisturizer. This has aloe vera and witch hazel in it, which is very interesting, and it has SPF 19. Very random, but it does. It says this is to awaken a fresh glow with luminous coverage and 24-hour hydration. I got the shade Light number 1. I had no idea what shade to get. I just ordered one and decided to kind of guess, because I've never seen this in person. I ordered mine from Ulta. Let me see if I can find how many shades it comes in. So it looks like it comes in 10 shades, which it's a tinted moisturizer, so I feel like you don't have to have as many shades, but I feel like 10 is not enough. But let's go ahead and try this. Again, I got the shade Light 01. I did swatch this on my hand earlier because I was curious. The color did not look like a perfect match for me, but that's okay. I think I'm gonna do one side with a brush, one side maybe with my hands, but we'll see. So I'm gonna use this brush. This is the BK Beauty 101 brush, and I'm just going to put a little pea-size amount on here, and we're gonna do the right side with the brush. Yeah, so this color is a little too yellowy for me, but it's not bad. We can make it work. It is so hard to pick a shade in something like this online. I will say right off the bat, it has a pretty strong fragrance to it. I'm not sure what. It's a very pleasant smell, but it definitely does have a scent to it. So just so you know, if you're sensitive to fragrance, you might not love that. I will also say I did apply all of my skincare before this, so I did have an SPF on already. So this is just an extra layer. Okay, so there it is. Actually, now that I blend it in, the color looks pretty good, actually. Huh. Okay, it definitely is very moisturizing. Honestly, the consistency feels very similar to that eye cream, and it looks pretty nice actually with the brush. I have a good bit of discoloration typically on my cheek area. I always do. It didn't cover everything, but it looks pretty good. And I am also sitting in front of a window, or two windows with the blinds open. So this should be a pretty accurate indication of what it looks like. But that looks pretty good. Okay, let's go in with, yeah, let's use my hands for the left side. Okay, so I don't know how much of this to take. I guess I'm just gonna start with that much. And I'll just start to blend this in. This is so weird. I never use my left hand to blend something in. This feels really odd, but I figure it's easier to use my left hand. All right, so yeah, this feels super, super moisturizing. And the scent I was talking about, you definitely can smell it, but it definitely gets better as soon as you blend in your product. It's just right when you pump it out or start to blend it, you can definitely smell that fragrance in there. Here it is with my hand, and then with a brush. Right off the bat, I definitely prefer how it looks with the brush. It just looks a little more smooth. This side looks okay, but it definitely doesn't look like it's as blended in as this side. But neither side looks bad. And I'm actually very impressed that this color match actually isn't as bad as I thought. I'm gonna take my brush now and just kind of go over everything. This might be one of those things where you could kind of start to blend it with your hands and then maybe go over it with a brush or a sponge to get rid of any streakiness or anything. So again, no corrector, just the eye cream and a concealer. Brush and the Tinted Moisturizer. My hands, Tinted Moisturizer, eye cream with corrector. First, what I'll say is I definitely like the look of the Tinted Moisturizer more than the eye cream. Just because it just looks a little more blended into my skin. The eye cream to me looks hydrating, which is good. It doesn't look dry under my eyes, but it just kind of looks like it's sitting there. Like when I look at it in the mirror, I just feel like I can see it there. But I did, you know, apply a few layers of it because I was trying to see if the coverage could build up at all. Like I said earlier, it built up a little bit. I don't think it built up a ton though. So if you have a lot to cover and you're concerned about darkness, blue, purple, green, or brown tones under your eyes, I don't know that this is going to cover it. But it doesn't look bad. Definitely am liking the Tinted Moisturizer more and more as I sit here and look at it. It is very luminous looking, I will say. So if you don't love a radiant look, you're probably not going to like this. I had to move my camera over again so you could see. But so far, pretty impressed with the Tinted Moisturizer. The eye cream, it looks okay. Not obsessed though. But the one thing I will say, I do not like anything under my eyes that is dry looking. This does not look dry at all. It just looks, it looks very slippery almost. Like if I took my finger and swiped, all of it would just come off because it's so liquidy and kind of an emollient texture. But I do think it looks pretty, especially with the Tinted Moisturizer. So I am going to finish up the rest of my makeup and then I'll be back. And we're also going to kind of do a wear test on this today. It's about 10 o'clock in the morning right now and I'm gonna wear this all day long. And I do think I am going to, like I was saying earlier, maybe set one side of my face and not set this side so we can compare the two at the end of the day. I don't always powder, like a lot of you probably know. But in case you're wondering, I want to do one side with a little bit of powder so we can compare. So I'm going to go ahead and finish up my makeup and then I'll be back and I will share some more thoughts with you. Alright, so I finished applying the rest of my makeup. I have on very, very light minimal makeup today. So here's what everything is looking like. I did apply powder on this side of my face. I do not have any powder on this side of my face. I used my Charlotte Tilbury Airbrush Flawless powder because I know I like that powder. And I did apply it under my eyes and just very lightly on this side of my face. I have no powder here. Right off the bat, I will say the side with powder looks better to me. This side looks fine. It just looks very, very shiny and I love a dewy finish, but I think this one looks better with a little bit of powder because you can still see there is definitely some glow on my face, but not as much as this side. This side is, it again, just kind of looks like it's sitting there, and I mean the eye cream and the Tinted Moisturizer, it doesn't look set down. It just kind of looks like it's there. It looks hydrated, but it doesn't look like it's there to stay, if that makes sense. But having said that, neither side looks bad. In fact, I'm pretty impressed with how this looks now that I have the rest of my makeup on. I'll be very curious to see how this looks in a few hours, especially the side that has no powder. I'm just going to be hanging out at home today, so I'm not really going to be going out or anything, but I'm very curious to see how this holds up throughout the day. So let me know what you think, if you think one side looks better than the other. One more time, no corrector on this side with the eye cream and a concealer. This is Tinted Moisturizer with a brush and with powder. This is eye cream and a concealer with corrector underneath, no powder at all, and I used my hands mainly to apply the tinted moisturizer. I have the brightness turned down on my camera also, so hopefully you can really see what this looks like. And again, I'm in front of a window and natural light, so this should be a pretty accurate indication of what this looks like. It looks pretty decent, but definitely prefer this side more. Honestly, even this side with no corrector underneath, now that I'm looking at it, looks a little bit better to me than this side. And it could also be, like I said earlier, that I think this corrector or this concealer is a little bit light for me. I think I could have gone up one shade. So that could also be a reason why my darkness is still really showing through, because if you have a concealer that's too light for you and you have darkness under your eyes, putting that on top of the darkness is just going to make your under eye look kind of gray. It's not going to cover anything. So that could also be why some of the darkness is still showing through. But overall, I don't think it looks bad, but I don't know that I'm obsessed with it yet. But I will be back in a few hours and we will see how everything is looking. All right, so it's been about 3 hours now since the first clip, and I wanted to do a quick check-in with you so you could see how everything is looking. I definitely do prefer the tinted moisturizer over the eye cream or the concealer in an eye cream. I just feel like, for me personally, because I want a little more coverage under my eyes, that is not going to do it for me really, but that's just my opinion. It really depends on what you're trying to cover and how much darkness you have under your eyes. I do, like I said earlier, like that it's moisturizing. It does still look pretty moisturized under my eyes. Even the side that has powder looks pretty decent to me. But like I said earlier, it just doesn't give the coverage right here. Like even the side where I applied corrector earlier, you can still see a good bit of the blueness peeking through. And it could be the color of the concealer, but it could also be that it's just not a ton of coverage from this product. But the tinted moisturizer, other than the color, I still think the color is slightly off for me. But in the summertime, it would probably be okay. I really like the tinted moisturizer though. I think it looks really nice. It does not look dry at all. And honestly, both sides look pretty good, but I do think the side with the powder looks the best. This side looks okay too. It definitely has dried down a little bit. It doesn't look as glowy as it looked when I first applied it. So I definitely do think it dried down, but I do think that the side where I applied a little bit of powder looks a little bit better. I do really like the tinted moisturizer though. I like it. The one thing I do wish it was not so scented, because like I said earlier, it is very fragrance when you first put it on, but it does go away. Other than that though, I think it looks really nice and really pretty. It's definitely not a ton of coverage, but for just every day, if you like a tinted moisturizer with very light coverage, you might really like this if you could find a shade that will work for you. This is the side with powder. This is the side I used the brush. And this is the side that has powder under the eyes too. And no corrector. This side has no powder at all, and it does have corrector. So those are my thoughts. As of right now, I will definitely come back in a little bit and we'll see how everything is looking. I am about to do an at-home workout, so it'll be interesting to see what this looks like when I'm finished. So it may not look very good because I'm about to sweat most likely. So I will see you guys in a few hours and we'll see how everything is looking. All right, it's been a few hours and I wanted to do another check-in. This may be my last check-in. I might be able to do one more. But at the end of my last one, I was saying I was going to do an at-home workout, and I did. And actually, I was sitting here before I turned the camera on looking. My skin the makeup has held up pretty well, actually. I'm actually pleasantly surprised. I will say up close, it's starting to look a little bit dry. Like maybe I would need like a setting spray or something to kind of refresh my face. It is starting to look a little bit dry, but it hasn't really moved a ton, especially this side with the powder. I still think the powdered side looks better in terms of the tinted moisturizer. The under eye area looks about the same as it did earlier. You can see the darkness still peeking through. I mean, it might even actually be peeking through a little bit more on both sides, even the side that I powdered, but definitely this side that I did not powder. You can see a lot of my blue tones peeking through here. So overall, the tinted moisturizer, I'm pretty impressed with it. The eye cream and a concealer, I don't know. I don't think it's horrible, but I don't think it's anything miraculous. I wish it had just a little bit more coverage to it. Like I said earlier, if you're someone that doesn't have a whole lot of discoloration under your eyes and you just want some hydration and a little bit of coverage, you might really love this. It's just going to be totally dependent on the person. For me personally, I like my eye cream separately, my corrector separately, and then concealer. But I will say I might use this on a day when I don't have time to do all those steps and I just want to throw something on my eyes. This might be a good option to have, but it really just depends on your needs. I will say of this tinted moisturizer and the L'Oreal Age Perfect foundation, I don't have it sitting here with me, but I do have it. I would probably choose the Age Perfect over this one. Gives a little bit more coverage, but you can also sheer it out if you want to. And it has SPF 50, whereas this one just has SPF 19. Or the Age Perfect might be SPF 45, I can't remember. But either way, you should wear SPF underneath anyway. And also the Age Perfect, I don't notice the smell as much. This one, you're definitely going to notice the smell. And I don't know if it says it has aloe vera and witch hazel, but this is a very florally scent to me. But like I said, for every day and a little bit of coverage, it definitely does the job. I definitely like this more than the eye cream and a concealer. So that's going to be it for this video. Let me know if you guys have tried these products, if you're wanting to try these products. Let me know in the comments below. Let me know what you think of how they look on me. I'd love to hear your thoughts and opinions. If you have a product you want me to review for my next What's New Wednesday video, make sure to leave it in the comments. Thank you guys so much for watching. Give this video a thumbs up if you liked it, and make sure you are subscribed before you leave. One last thing, make sure you're following me over on Instagram at the same username, simply.blair. Thank you for watching. I'll see you guys next time. Remember, simply be you. Bye.